I worship a God who's fully man, fully God, and I view myself as fully black and fully white.
Come on.
But when people see me, they don't, who's that white dude? No, they see me as culturally, ethnically black in America. If we have the power to bless and curse, and the enemy's doing a good job of weaponizing our words. So don't give them that opportunity. Speak life. Speak the reality that we see in the scriptures. Where behind this one man, Jesus, we see around his throne, there are people from every tribe, every nation, every tongue.
That's right.
And it's not all the King James English.
That's right.
It's beautiful.
That's right.
It's diverse, and it reflects the creativity of our Creator.
I want to do a hard shift.
Okay.
I want to talk race.
Okay.
I want to talk the black man. I want to talk Christianity.
Okay.
I want to talk black pastors.
Okay.
Where we're at in our country. And rather than asking a leading question or whatever, I like, what do you think? what are thoughts you have right now about, because you're not a victim, my man, and you have an ability. I don't know, maybe it's your military training or background experience, but your family story is pretty wild. and by nature of the family you were born into, you were born and delivered in the middle. Right. And so maybe unpack your family story and then how that relates to the plight, the state, whatever you want to call it, of racial conversations today and what you think will be most helpful for white men to hear, for black men to hear, for black pastors to hear, for white pastors to hear. What do you think is needed? That's obviously a huge question, but we've had a lot of good conversations around this, and I listen to you talk, and I'm like, that we need to say that. We need people to hear that. Oh man! So without putting you on the spot,
no, all good.
To put you on the spot, your family story, the unique dynamics that created the world you've lived in, and I see connections even to how that served you well in the military. And then what you think the black pastor, the black man, the white pastor, white man need to hear about where we're at right now and how to move forward in a way that would be productive and helpful.
Wow. And I'm honored just to even have the opportunity to like speak into that. So I'll start with like point of view. Right. I think before I can speak to like this national thing that we're dealing with is like,
your
okay,
story.
I'm offering a point of view. Right.
There you go.
And so sovereign settings, my dad is white and he's white. Like get together, play trivia on Monday night, white.
Oh yeah, that's super
like,
white.
I love my dad. And so I got to meet my dad when I was 5. So I'm pushing 40. I'm an 80s baby. Mom.
Up until 5, you never met him?
Never met him.
Okay.
Yep. Okay. So yeah, like I said, it's 80s. So drugs, partying, that's kind of the ecosystem that my parents found each other.
Okay.
Both out of bad relationships. Like very painful, scorched earth type situation. So I'm the youngest of 2 sets of kids. I have 2 older brothers, about a decade older than me, who are white.
Like me, white.
Yeah, just like you. And then I have a brother and a sister who, again, just for terminology to describe things, a lot in our country would call stereotypically black, right?
Like black.
Like black.
White, black.
That's my life. And so then there's me. Yeah. Like light skinned, curly haired, right in the middle.
That's crazy.
And so my mom raised me, but there was a moment where she was not around me. My grandmother took care of me basically from 2 to 5 because my mom was in prison.
Wow.
She gets radically saved, and on fire for the Lord. And so I love my mom for this because in a lot of ways, the mom who raised me isn't the one who raised my brother and sister. And she kind of saw me as like, I'm going to try to get it right this time.
Redemption opportunity.
And she ain't perfect. And obviously I'm not perfect. But we just got a real cool connection.
Man. And she's Baptist, right?
Oh, yeah, she's Baptist-costal. Man, like,
Baptist.
Yeah, I tell people I grew up with a drug problem. Like, my mom drugged me to church every single day. I'm 7. Why am I in the marriage ministry? Like, so anyways,
oh my gosh,
so I would do school years with my mom, summers with my dad. He did the whole we need to do a paternity test. I want to make sure he's my son, which, hey, good on him, because once he found out, he gave me all he had.
Wow.
I love my dad. And so one place where it was kind of like, man, Dad, this is kind of a little tone deaf, but You're doing it like totally out of goodwill and like love.
Yeah.
We lived in Georgia. My dad lived in New York City.
Okay.
And so he drove down, and we've talked about this since I've been an adult. I'm like, what were you thinking? He's a history buff.
Okay.
He loves war, like to study and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
And so he's picking me up in Georgia, and he's taking me to Civil War, like battlegrounds. And I'm like, Dad, I don't know if you see this the way I'm seeing this.
That's definitely a white thing to do.
And he's like, this is my son, and I love him. I'm trying to spend time, and these are my hobbies.
Yeah, that's what I do.
Like, bro, I think I got locks now. Like my dreadlocks, I think came from my dad's influence. Because I remember those car rides listening to Bob Marley. Like, now,
wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
Oh, yeah. No, he loved music. I love Star Wars because of my dad. I love science fiction because of my dad.
Now, so, are these not stereotypical, like, black things? You're saying?
Well, I don't know about that. I mean, a lot of black people rock with Bob Marley, right?
Yeah.
I think these are just more so like, no, I think this is just who my dad is.
Like, the Star Wars stuff and the
I'm probably a little bit more nerdy on some of the geek stuff.
The science fiction,
but anime's popping now. A lot of people I know, black people, we love some Dragon Ball Z, Naruto, that kind of stuff. So
part of that, there's kind of a sweetness as I listen to it. It's like, because he wasn't like, this is my black child or this is my whatever. He's like, this is my son.
Yep.
And this is what I love to do. I'm going to take my son with me.
100%.
There's a sweetness to that as I listen to you talk about it.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it was cool. So it was kind of like, okay, so during the school year, I'm with my mom and we do church. And the world is unsafe. So we got to keep Riley safe from the world because look what the world did to my older brother. Thankfully, like he's also in ministry. He owns a barbershop. So kind of like what you were describing, like, hey, pastors, have a side hustle. That way you can relate to your flock.
Yep.
So I got an older brother who's in Georgia with my mom.
Yep.
And he's serving faithfully at the church that he's a part of.
Wow.
And but before that, I remember watching my brother get arrested. Because he was selling drugs and he was part of gangs.
Wow.
My sister, I remember her being a teenage mom. I had a nephew who felt like a little brother because we were 5 years apart.
Wow, bro.
And so I'm trying to reconcile these two worlds.
So you're in like safe mom world during the school year.
Yeah.
And then you'd go be with your dad in the summer?
So then I'm with my dad and my older brothers. One's going to NC State. One's going to Florida State. He's an accountant in development. My other brother, he just started selling pizza. Then he took over the franchise, became a store manager, district manager.
Oh my gosh.
So I'm like, this is different.
Yeah.
Like you can go two different ways. Like, and so again, I'm a kid processing all this.
Yep.
So fast forward to my teenage years, my dad retires. He was a software editor for IBM.
Okay.
Smart math dude, really good with numbers.
Yeah.
So his job as he was retiring transferred him to Raleigh, North Carolina.
Okay.
I'm at that age where I'm starting to creep into that manhood. I'm like, my stepdad's great, but I want to learn how to be a man for my dad.
Yeah.
So I asked something wild. I was like, hey, Mom, can I go live with my dad? And she said, heck no.
Not having it.
My dad doesn't follow Jesus. Like to this day, he's one of my ones. Like I am like a lot of my study of scripture and commitment to the local church because I want to win my dad, bro. I want to win him bad.
Let's go.
And I've also come to the realization that sure, I might not be the guy to win my dad, but dude, if I can win his dad, if I can win that guy's dad,
come on,
let's get after it.
Let's go.
So anyways,
dude, special ops,
okay.
I mean, yeah, dude.
Yeah.
I love how your brain works, man. We may not get the bad guy, but we can dry up his funding.
That's it.
You know what I mean?
Come on.
Let's get him.
Yeah. So, so my mom and my stepdad decided to do is we're going to move to Raleigh so you can be around your dad more.
Okay.
And so we moved from Columbus, Georgia, right there near Fort Benning, to Raleigh, North Carolina. I'm in high school. I'm chasing my hoop dreams now. And that's kind of like the mecca for basketball in North Carolina, right? So I'm around my dad more and we're trying to like gel our two families. And it was just different. Like it didn't like really mesh because they didn't really have a relationship. But I was kind of like a common denominator. Like everybody loved me. So my brother who graduated from NC State, he lived in Raleigh. My brother who was in Florida, who's now running Papa John's, takes over a district in Raleigh, Durham, and the Triangle area. And so now it was like, for the first time, it took me turning 15 years old to have my family back together.
Wow.
And it was awkward. Oh boy, it was awkward. like I love my mom, but she would go on some rants about like, well, so and so's racist, and I'm like, you mean the dude you slept with and had me? Like, like what? So it just didn't make sense. It was like, is this just a passionate heat of the moment kind of thing? Right. And then we like de-escalate and oh, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have, you know, it's family. Like that's what family does. Yep. And you got to fight for family. Yep. Because our battle really isn't flesh and blood, right? That's right. It's that demonic, it's those principalities. That's right. Trying to use us. So all I have to say is like, I got closer with my dad in those moments. And that's, I think, when my heart began to turn for my dad. Okay. Because I did have those moments growing up like, man, why weren't you around? And like, I wish I would have learned how to throw a ball from you. Or, man, how do I win girls? Because I'm just figuring it out from guys in the locker room. And that didn't help me. Like that created more heartache. But what God taught me in that is like, man, my dad gave me everything he had to give. And that's something that I can celebrate. So
there's honor in that.
Yeah.
So was your stepdad black or white?
He was black.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Yep. So that's the world you grow up in.
Yep.
It's a kind of between two worlds, and you're learning to navigate both worlds. So translate that to today.
Sure.
Yeah. I mean, what do you see, man? Yeah. What do you see? What do you think?
Yeah. So for me, I guess we'll just call it racial reconciliation. Like even with my point of view, I hate using those words because I think when you look at the Bible, there's one race.
Let's go.
Human.
That's right.
Like if you get up in a pulpit and you preach and teach what it is we believe, then you believe there was one couple in one garden.
Come on.
And even further, there was one family that survived a flood.
That's right.
So what are we really talking about? The fact that you grew up one way in one culture and I grew up another way in another culture. And so now my culture's superior to yours. Yep. That's sin. Like it's not a skin issue, it's a sin issue.
That's right.
And I get that these things are way more complex than that. Yeah. But my complexion ain't that complex, bro. Yeah. Like can we love Jesus and be God gave his church the ministry of reconciliation.
That's right.
And so,
bro.
And so I'll give you this, Josh.
Come on.
Right. This is post-military career.
Yeah.
Which I think was helpful because in the military, the uniform is the unifier.
Yeah.
It's like, we're going to protect this flag.
That's right.
And I know we all come from different states and different experiences, but this
uniform.
Right.
That's right. One team. One team, one mission.
And we got to fight for that because someone's going to say something sideways and you might have to like go wrestle it out. But at the end of the day, we come back to mission.
Dude, isn't that what boot camp does? Head shave, strip everybody down. Yeah. You're all the same.
This is my brother and he's from Kentucky. That's and I'm the first black dude he's seen or whatever, you know, like I'm just making stuff up. But like,
100%.
But I've had that moment with people.
Yeah, man.
And it's like, hey, I get it.
My kids have had that in Monitor. You know, we're 35, 40% Hispanic.
Yeah.
So we love that world, but not a huge black community here. So we landed in the Atlanta airport.
Wow.
And they got an education.
It's like, what planet are we on?
Yeah, like, ooh, yeah.
Come on, man.
Yep.
So it's that exposure, but again, that common denominator of like, we're not that different.
Yeah.
Like we're all after the same calling that God has for our lives.
Yep.
So then when I look at the church, you know, I step out of ministry to the military and now I'm in vocational ministry. I'm a pastor.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm around Christians all the time. And it's like, what are we caught up in? Like the ministry is reconciliation.
Yes.
And so I would even grow up in the church hearing statements. Again, I grew up in the South, so I want to contextualize that. The most segregated day of the week is Sunday service.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm looking at that and I'm like, well, I know these Christians don't feel this way about this group of Christians.
Yeah.
So what's separating us? Culture.
Yeah.
I like these songs. This is where we've always gone. And I know it's deeper than that too, but all that to say is I found myself during like COVID and George Floyd and all those things where I'm a pastor on a staff at what a lot of people in our city would call the white church. Even though if they actually got to know us, they're like, no, they reflect the demographics of their city.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So I'm one of we had like probably 5 or 6 black pastors on our staff. I'm a campus pastor, so that came with a little bit of profile. And so now we're being invited to conversations that the mayor's hosting in our city about reconciliation.
Right.
And my mentor, who was our senior pastor at the time, he's like, man, this feels like the 60s and 70s all over again. It's like,
this is weird.
But what came out of that was another revival. There's uprival, then there's revival. God did something. So I'm in these talks and everyone's wanting to know what I think about X, Y, and Z. And I'm sitting there, and that's where I got the language. For this conversation, it's like trying to rip my family apart. Because I see this white guy not as my brother. I have a white guy who is my brother.
Literally.
And I see this black guy not as my brother. He is my brother.
Wow.
And I'm not this third hybrid thing. I worship a God who's fully man, fully God. And I view myself as fully black and fully white.
Come on.
Like,
my man.
My name is Riley Halliday. That sounds very white.
Bro.
But when people see me, they don't, who's that white dude? No, they see me as culturally, ethnically black in America.
Wow.
Even though when I'm a kid going to different family reunions, I've been the little black boy and I've been the little white boy.
Bro, that's wild.
And so I think it's cool when I see people in scripture. Moses, I don't talk well. What he means is I'm not as connected with my Hebrew culture because I grew up Egyptian. Same thing with a guy like Joseph. Like, do I?
Wow, I have never thought of
all these type arcs are right there in scripture pointing to Jesus who is reconciled.
My man.
I got to bring these two groups together.
Woo, I'm having a moment.
And so I see the church as the one place, at least in American society. I know different countries look different, but it's the one place where at the foot of the cross, ain't we all just family?
My man.
Don't we all need Jesus?
My man. My man.
And so we die to self. And so I don't see myself as a black Christian, a white Christian, a light-skinned Christian. Anything you put before Christian, you can miss me with it.
My man.
I see myself as a Christian, and everything else I get to bring into the kingdom.
Yes.
So I want to be clear about that. Like, I don't think I'm whitewashing myself in order to be Christian. It's like, no, I bring my J's and my locks and the fact that I eat, sweet potato pie and pumpkin pie on Thanksgiving. I get to bring all of that into the kingdom of God.
There's more, you're more human. There's more, you know what I mean? That's not right to say it.
Sure.
There's more joy. There's more experiences to be had.
I got a buffet of stuff to enjoy and celebrate. And it doesn't make me less. I guess that's what I would say.
What would you say to pastors? Man, I think this is going to help a lot of men, bro. A lot of pastors. God has just sovereignly, providentially fitted you for this kind of moment in history. What would you say to pastors who, like, we have to get a diversified church, we have to preach reconciliation, we have to kind of like artificially, at least it feels to me sometimes, artificially force this racial diversity thing. Like, when you hear that, what do you hear? You're like, that's helpful. Good, keep going down that road, guys. Good job. Keep saying that. Or you're like, what are you doing?
Yeah, I mean, being vulnerable, it's a little cringe for me. Like, it's like, I know noble intentions. Like, you want something that's good.
Right.
But how you get there just doesn't feel, it's like you said, it feels manufactured.
Yes.
And so what I would say to that pastor is like, who are your friends? So you didn't, text me out of the blue and say, hey man, I need to do a talk. You're this black guy that I know. Can you come talk?
Right.
Bro, I get text messages from you every other day. I can't count the number of times you personally told me, man, I love you this weekend.
Yes.
So there's a real relationship that creates this space. So again, you hit on this earlier too. Like, don't get so separated from the experience of your people. Like, if you want people to have diverse experiences, then you as a pastor, do you have diverse experiences? Or are all your friends of the same ethnic background as you? And if they aren't, it might be time to make some friends. It might be time to, like, all right, what are your other hobbies? What are the common denominators? I'm not saying that if you're a white boy, you need to start playing basketball, but guess what? I know a bunch of white boys who play basketball because I play basketball. I'm in that environment. And so that's a common denominator. And we have talks, right? So if you're the golf person, y'all know Tiger Woods, there's brothers that golf. Like, and so find ways to, men, we need to do stuff together. And I do believe the men have to lead on this. you find those common denominators where you can build a relationship, build a bridge of trust before you carry that truck of truth over it.
Bro, let me ask you this. You talked about what separates some of those experiences were culturally driven in terms of like cultures enjoy things. Is that necessarily a bad thing? And I'm gonna ask an opening question here, but like this is going to totally fly against the face of it. So I'm like, okay, how do I ask this question and not get shot? I don't know if I think I care.
I got you.
But sometimes like, what's wrong with a black church that likes to rock out the kind of music that maybe other people wouldn't enjoy? And it's like, I get it. We're stronger together and better together. And diversity is our strength. All those kind of things. Yep. But on the flip side, it's not wrong for cultures to love their own culture, right?
Not at all.
I mean, so I guess how would you hear that? Like, should we try to attempt to, as much as possible, create artificial forced diversity, or is it okay for there to be? I mean, I know what I'm trying to say here, but you see what I'm saying? Is it okay for like I like these kind of things, so I'm going to hang out here?
For sure.
It's like, well, here's an example. The Hispanic community here is very high in Wenatchee, and so it's like how to reach, and it's like. So we started, people do services where it's like we're going to sing half the songs in Spanish and half the songs in English, and it's like. Then everyone hates it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was like, there's nothing wrong with Hispanics and Mexicans singing songs in their language.
There you go.
Right? Like, why should we try to pretend? And so, like, so we're not segregating them. We're having a service that is in line with the unique cultural expression that God's given them that they love. That I wouldn't even understand. It doesn't mean I don't love them less or don't appreciate them less or don't learn from them less. It just means like, I can't sing this song. I don't know the language. Is that making sense?
Yeah. All right, man. This is a good question.
Okay, but we're in it now.
No, we're in there.
And
we're gonna go deeper.
So teach, instruct.
Oh, whatever, bro. No, like teach me. Like I'm just processing thoughts.
For the record, we are verbally processing things that we have yet to talk about now. So we are in uncharted territory.
Aslan, where's the map? We haven't been here before. Okay, so what I would say to that question is, short answer is, of course, it's okay to celebrate the uniqueness of who God made you to be, right? I think, yes, we all have the mission of the global church, disciple people of all people groups, right? Baptize in the name of Father, Son, Spirit. I also think he calls us his body. Like my thumb is not my pinky. Like, and I'm grateful. I wouldn't want to eat my food with my feet serving me. Like, and so I think there is something to celebrate in knowing who you're not.
Wow.
Because otherwise you make the Frankenstein church. And again, if that's your calling, if you've heard something God breathed where it's like, we're supposed to have the Disney experience for everybody, go build that. Because God's going to bless it. But I think a lot of churches just need to celebrate the uniqueness of who they're called to reach. Bro. We're fishing.
Do your thing.
And sometimes it takes different bait to catch different fish.
Yeah, my man.
And so don't fight who you are. But at the same time, don't bash someone else's model.
That's right.
So the Lord humbled me, bro. You know a little bit of this story. We ended up going through a church merger. There was a dying, very traditional, and I'll just be blunt, very white Baptist church, like old school in our city. COVID ravaged them. They had a great facility. They stewarded it. 10 acres, 48,000 square foot, that this community chose me to be their pastor.
Wow.
Total God thing, and we can't take any credit for it. But in that process,
you're saying a very white community?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah. No, this church was like down to 30 people.
Okay.
And I did not fit the description of probably what they were looking for in a pastor. I'll just put it that way. Generationally and culturally. So what God did in that process, he was wringing some things out of me.
Wow.
I was reading, this is David, right, when he was fleeing from Absalom, right? And this older dude took care of him. And as he's getting ready to cross back across the Jordan to go take his throne, he talks to this guy and he's like, hey, come with me. And he's like, man, I can barely see. I can't tell if a woman sings good or not. I'm too old to make this journey. But my servant will go with you. And so I feel like God was preparing me, Riley, in this merger. There's going to be a generation.
Wow.
They want to be with you. They just can't go there. You're going to wear skinny jeans. You're going to wear ripped jeans. You're going to have your locks down. And I love that. They can't make that trip. It doesn't mean they're not for you. And so when people, again, they voted to become manna.
Wow.
And there was a small trickle who said, I love it. I love seeing kids in the hall.
Yeah.
I'm looking for hymns and something a little more traditional.
Yep. Yep.
And God freed me from that moment of like, but what's wrong with us?
Yeah.
No, they need to be where they're contributing to the kingdom.
Yep.
And they feel called.
Yep.
And so they're not, I didn't die for any of those people. Jesus did. And I think sometimes we see our flavor of ice cream as the best.
Yep.
When God likes Baskin Robbins. He likes all the flavors.
Come on, my man.
So they found great churches in our city to be a part of. Here's the thing that happened on the other side. David goes, and who greets him first? His tribe, Judah.
Yeah.
His people. Remember, he's from the tribe of Judah.
Yes.
So his people were like, welcome home, King. We missed you.
Wow.
And then someone from Benjamin, and when the rest of the tribes of Israel show up, they say, we have no inheritance in the son of Jesse because he favors his tribe above ours. Here's where God pinned me to the wall, bro. He said, Riley, you like manna more than you like Baptists, Pentecostals, Presbyterian, you name it.
Yeah.
You like your flavor of ice cream.
Yeah.
I didn't call you to just lead non-denominationally. He's like, can you and your leadership meet me in a place where you can lead people wherever they are?
Wow.
Because he didn't call David to be the king of Judah.
Wow.
He called him to be the king of Israel.
Wow.
Can you be a safe place for these different tribes to find their identity in something greater?
Yep. Yep.
And bro, it was just like, this reconciliation thing is a lot bigger.
Wow.
It's a lot bigger than just me and my preferences.
Wow.
So yes, this is the short answer. Love all the tribes.
Yep.
And if you find your fit in a tribe, celebrate that because we need all the tribes represented.
Yep.
But if you have a calling to unite the tribes, don't shy away from it.
My man. Dude, what I listening to you articulate this, bro, it's very profound. God's given you a perspective and ability to articulate, I think, in a way that pierces through kind of the talking points and the politics of it to the heart of the issue. Because at the end of the day, we're dealing with men and hearts and sin and people. What kept you from getting offended?
Did I say that?
Well, when they were like, "Hey, we love you, we're for you, we like hymns," and you were like, "Okay," and so there's a sense about you that like you're not easily offended. Just as a man.
I'm glad that.
Right? I mean, like I would have to work at offending you. You know what I mean? As a white guy talking to a black man, like. And there's something that I think I've been drawn to in that because sometimes all of a sudden the heightened escalated conversation about race all of a sudden has made me feel super awkward. Like, so where I used to never think about it. Yeah. Like I'm around Carlos and like we make jokes about, beef and bean, you know what I mean? Like it's like he makes more jokes about being a wetback burrito, blah blah blah, whatever, and it's funny, and it's there's ability just to laugh and joke, appreciate the cultural background difference, and poke fun at the other,
of course,
and no offense because we're it's a way of honor really and celebrate, and so all of a sudden Ferguson and these events, it's like you go into Starbucks and there's a black guy there, and you're like, okay, how can I communicate to him that I'm not a racist? And you're like, what am I doing? Like how I communicate that is I treat him like a man. I treat him like I would someone else.
Absolutely.
And sometimes I hear things attributed to racism. I think, well, that's just human stuff. Yeah. Like oh, I got slighted here. Well, I did too because people are idiots sometimes.
Yeah, I am going to sin against you at some point.
Yeah. And so it's like I sin against white people.
Right.
Because I'm an idiot.
Yeah, but you don't hate white people.
Well, yeah. It's like, hello. It's like that. So where's my question here in this wandering? Oh, I've found you to be remarkably unoffendable. Is that something you've chosen? Is that something you've worked through? Have you worked through like, I used to get offended. They're being racist. Or just because of this providential setting of being born to a white mom and a white dad and stuck between these two worlds, so to speak, you just don't think about. Were you offended when they left to go to our church and had to work through it? Yeah. How does Riley Halliday work through that?
Yeah, no, that's deep. Thinking about it, I would say it's something I've had to constantly resubscribe to. Okay. Almost like on your phone where you see that little red dot and it's like, oh, another update. Yep. I feel like God keeps updating my software when it comes to that. Okay. And just a couple examples. I mentioned before, I'm almost 40. And so I had the experience, before my mom married my stepdad, we were poor, single mom, holding it down, just got out of jail. So, I mean, she is a trooper. And I went to some, schools that weren't the best. And I was probably the lightest kid in a lot of these situations. Not because that's holistic across the board, but just the city that we were in. That's kind of what it looked like.
Yeah.
And so I was smart. Like because she made me, you're not going to be out in the streets. You're going to do your work. Wow. You're going to work hard.
Wow.
And so, yeah, maybe some natural gifting, but also just stewarding that gifting.
Yep.
Perfect attendance. She made sure I got to school, all those things. And so I ended up in this thing called the Gifted Program. That's what we had at the time.
The Gifted Program.
The Gifted Program. And what that meant was on Mondays, I would be bused from my school to the school in a nice part of town.
Okay.
And now I went from being the lightest person in this situation to the darkest person.
Okay.
You know, there were children of other different backgrounds. Right. It was diverse, but majorly in this city that I was in, like I'm about a bunch of white kids.
Yep.
And they talk about different sports and different activities,
wow.
and they're swimming. And I'm like, I thought you die if you swim, you know, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And the work was so much harder. And I did this all throughout early education, all the way to middle school. And I remember one professor, one of my teachers, had this quote. I forget where they get it from. But they asked us the question, would you rather be the smartest of the dumb kids or the dumbest of the smart kids?
Wow.
And when I pondered that question, my initial reaction was like, I want to be the smartest. Like,
yeah.
But then I was like, no, I'd rather be the dumbest of the smart kids because at least I'm smart.
Yep.
At least I'm in that category.
Yeah.
So all that to say is like, I feel this tug of war where it's like, I constantly don't fit in and my default would be offended.
Yep.
If I choose to operate that way. It's like, I'm always going to be offended. There's always going to be someone that has something to say about me or discrediting me or has a problem with me because I'm white or I'm black or whatever.
Yep.
And then I look at my family. I look at my dad who, like I said, he doesn't know all the cultural landmines of what he's stepping into.
Yep.
And so I'm like, do I trigger them for him?
Yeah.
Like he ain't even stepped on it yet. He's about to, and I just set it off. Or do I, hey, Dad, I wouldn't step on that.
Yeah.
Well, my brother being a manager for Papa John's, like I was able to like, so he'll hit me up. Like, hey,
is this white brother or black brother?
White brother. Yeah. Hey, I want to process this with you. Like, I feel this way politically. My employees are doing this, and I was like, yeah, I wouldn't word it the way you worded it. Like I would switch that up a little bit.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes.
Right.
Yep.
So imagine if more people, like I get the reality that hurt people. And that's part of the problem. I want to speak to that pain too. Like, you know, slavery, the first time I learned about it, I was like, that's messed up.
Yep.
I think any decent human being, regardless of your skin color, would be like, that's messed up.
Yeah. A universal condemnation.
Yeah, like for sure.
Yep.
But it does kind of make you look around differently. I remember as a young college student, this is before the dreadlocks, but I had cornrows and I remember getting pulled over, completely sober, but also I drove a vehicle that looked like it was my stepfather's big old Cadillac.
Yeah.
And so I'm going,
there's some in there of interest.
Right? So I'm going out cruising in this old school Cadillac.
Right.
I got my cornrows. I look like I'm too young to be driving because I couldn't even grow a beard then.
Right.
And it's late at night.
Yeah.
So I get pulled over and I get asked to step out of the vehicle and ask for a driver, all this stuff.
Yep.
And I just go along with it.
Yep.
But I did feel some type of way. I was like, man, like me just telling you that what I need to tell you wasn't good enough. I get breathalyzed, all the things, and I'm legit. And I get told, hey, have a great day.
Yep.
And I said, thank you, officer. But it's just like, that was tough.
Yeah.
So for any listeners out there, like obviously I don't think everyone's racist, but there are some people out there who have their things. They have their issues.
Yep.
And so hurt people continue to hurt people.
Yep.
But imagine what healed people can do.
Ooh.
And so I want to lean into the place of like, okay, I'm just going to keep fighting for God to keep healing me of these two worlds that could collide and divide, or they could come together and multiply.
Yep.
And so I just want to be that, like, regardless of the conversation. I had another, like I said, God's continuing to bake this in me. During the town hall sessions that every pastor around the country was involved in, I'm watching guys, and this is right when I'm in the chute to go plant.
Okay.
And up until this point, you know, obviously there's some mixed church planters, like white and Mexican ethnicity, that kind of thing. But I'm black.
Yeah.
And I'm really wrestling with the reality. Like every white pastor I look up to, they can lead a multicultural, multi-ethnic expression of the local church. all the white pastors or all the black pastors, and I know there are some out there, but for the most part, the black pastors who had a big platform that I saw led black churches. Huh. And so I'm beginning to process like, wow, man, will white people follow me? Yeah, like, just a real question. Like, will I lead the black version of a manna church? Huh. And so just, wow, this is a funny story, just the humor of the God that we worship, right? He's a God of joy. He laughs, right? And so we're doing an outreach in our city and we all wear red shirts and we're out there doing this project and we're in the hood, like we're in a trouble spot. And this dude drives by and he sees the block party we're throwing and he is drunk. Yeah. Like drunk as you get hit with the aroma as soon as he rolled down his window. And he drives by and he's shouting. He's like, what are y'all doing over there? So I walk over and I'm like, hey, what's up, bro? And he's like, what's going on? I was like, oh, our church is here. We're just doing this outreach thing. So he's looking at me. He's like, well, where's the pastor? And I'm like, I'm the pastor.
You're looking at him.
And he leans past me, looks out his window. He's like, you lead all them white folks.
Was this a black guy or a white guy?
It's a black guy.
A black guy.
Yeah. He said, you lead all them white folks. And I turned around and I was like, well, I guess so, man.
I guess I did.
I was like, we're all following Jesus.
Yeah.
And he's a Jewish carpenter, man.
Yeah. Dude. Now let me ask you this. Yeah. Was that viewed as a betrayal of some unwritten black code?
Well, this interaction with this guy, he was just blown away.
He was surprised.
I think he saw, again, contextualized to our city.
I didn't think that would happen.
Newport News. Maybe you've heard like some incidents with Allen Iverson when he was high school, rising to college. Like, it is a spot where racial tension has been a thing. Okay. Even where we chose to plant. Yeah. There are two cities, Williamsburg, which is kind of affluent, and then there's Hampton, which has an HBCU, so it's more of a black city. And right in the middle is Newport News. Wow. And so you have these 7 cities where the military is kind of the gravitational pull. Everyone's in the shipyard or tech or medical field, and so it's like there's all these different tribes. That I think we have a cool opportunity to create an expression. Wow. But what does it look like when those tribes come together? Oh, man. So it's been cool to see God just be faithful and create an expression of local church that I believe looks like heaven.
Dude, so let me ask you this question. Loaded question, but it's not a leading question. Sure. But it could be loaded, I guess, depending on how you look at it. Like, good. Genuine, honest answer. Yeah. The racist conversation tends to lean one way. Sure. That white people are racist and white pastors are racist. Are there racist black people? Are there racist black pastors? And if so, what does it look like?
Yeah. Again, I don't want to speak for the whole country, right? Yeah. But I have had conversations with some dudes where, again, pastors, where I'm almost in the posture where I'm like, but do you hear yourself? And again, not to make it political, but you can't help but talk politics during an election season. Yeah, man. That's where we live in. Yeah. I'll just be real clear. Here's a fun story. Okay. Not to derail or go away from the question. But my mom had a problem for me the first time I voted for a candidate that she didn't approve of. Okay. So she's loyal to a party. Yeah. And I'm like looking at the candidates and what they're moving forward. Yep. And I'm looking to see, does that move the kingdom agenda forward? Yeah. That's just kind of my lens when I get to use my vote, right? Yep. And so I trust and I try to lead Christians like, hey, Holy Spirit, follow his prompting. Yep. Vote towards your biblical convictions. Yep. And so for me, there was an obvious party that was communicating something on a particular issue that I think is evil. Yep. And I can't support. And that's the issue of abortion. Yep. I hate it. Yep. And in that moment where I tell that to my mom, where she's like, you voted for this person, they're the devil. Yep. She breaks down and cries on the phone. And she's like, Riley, I've never been more proud of you. Mm-hmm. I've never told you this. Bro. So I knew, like, the place where I get my name from is from an Army sergeant major who was actually willing to adopt me. So I knew when my mom had me, she wasn't planning to get pregnant. She was fleeing a toxic relationship. She was transitioning out of the Army. Her world was on fire. Wow. Wow. And she had every reason not to, like, be a mom. She said, I don't know if I can do it. Yep. Yep. So she named me after him. She said, when you were born, I saw you and I'm like, this baby's adorable. I'm gonna raise him. Like, I'm sorry, but so she named me after Sergeant Major Riley Hayes. So that's where Riley comes from.
Okay.
But what she revealed to me later in my 30s was that before that, she and my dad had the conversation like, hey, we were partying. I'm late. Oh, just go get an abortion. And sent the money to do it. And she stepped into...
Your dad sent your mom the money to abort you.
Yeah. And later, again, he and I, we've had that talk and it's been a blessing. So maybe listeners need to hear that. Some of these awkward talks end in blessing.
Because you found that out and you're like, I got to go talk to my dad about it.
Not immediately. Right. So this is going back to like, man, you're the most unoffendable person.
Yeah.
If only you knew. Like... I look at David with his rhythms. Like when I get emotional, I run to the cave.
Yep.
Like, and I'm like, Lord, ring out what you need to ring out, use what you need to use. But I am no good to talk to a human being right now.
So unoffendable, not that, nothing phases me.
Oh no, I get
but
phased.
That dude, when the sword pierces,
run to the cave.
You go to the cave for healing.
Yep.
To get healed first.
Meet my father.
Before you respond. Oof.
Yep. So bringing that back to your question.
Dude, I just want to click on that real quickly. Yeah. I appreciate you clarifying that because that's important, I think, distinction to make. That in Riley Halliday being an unoffendable man, that doesn't mean he hasn't been hurt.
Right.
It doesn't mean he hasn't been sinned against.
Right.
And offended.
Yeah.
But you've chosen to take that offense to the cross. Bro, I appreciate that. Yeah. That's important distinction.
Oh, thank
you.
Keep
going.
Yeah. So kind of getting back to your question, I kind of lost it now. Man.
Well, you found out
you got me emotional again.
Yeah. The question on the table is. The conversation about racism tends to be one-sided. And have you seen it the other way?
Yeah.
But we've paused there because there's a part of your story here. Your dad gets your mom pregnant and then offers to pay for her abortion.
Yeah.
And you find that out. And then you went and talked to him at some point about that.
Yep. Yeah, because like that, I've always wanted to win my dad. And he's getting older. So I'm 39. So he's 79.
Yep.
And we just don't know how many days. Like he's healthy, he's good, but it's just like clock's ticking, right?
Yep.
And my brothers, who again raised by my dad, white brothers, clear, atheists, most of their adulthood, are looking at my life, looking at my family, and they're asking me, we need to get better at life and family.
Yeah.
And we see you live by these principles that you get from the Bible.
Yeah.
So we want to start reading the Bible.
Wow.
And so, bro, I got to lead both of my brothers
to
Jesus. I got to, bro, they baptized their daughters.
Let's go.
And my dad got to watch all of it.
Wow.
And so now we're all like, all right, you're the last man standing. Like, either you think we're crazy. Or your heart's just hard. So what is it? So we decided to kidnap my dad with the bait of taking him to go visit his sister in Connecticut. It's been, probably about a decade or so since they've connected. And he's from New York. And so we said, okay, let's go do NYC, slide over Connecticut, and hold dad hostage to evangelize, right?
Dude, these are military tactics now.
Snatch and grab. Yeah, for sure. So we're driving, and my brother Jesse, he's in the front seat. Dad's in the front passenger seat. I'm in the back. Matt couldn't make it. And so we're having the talk. Like, we avoided it for a while. And then it was like, game on. And so my dad is pushing back, and he's like, I don't know how anyone could worship a God who would kill his son. Let that sit. His problem with the God that I worship is that he sacrificed his son. And so I said, well, Dad, bro, God put this on the tee.
I said,
well, Dad, obviously with less snarkiness, Dad, there's something I've been meaning to ask you. Mom told me the story, and I always bounce that off. I know both y'all got different experiences, and you might misremember some details. I get that. Mom told me that when she found out that she was pregnant, she told you, and you kind of recommended like, hey, let's just index this right here. And that you even sent her the money to do it. And I never approached you about it. You're my dad. I love you. Is that true?
Bro.
And so super awkward.
Bro.
And I see my dad tearing up, and he owns it. He's like, yeah, it's true. It's not the first time. He was in a real dark place. So again, hurt people. He was betrayed by my brother's mom. And and that hurt him. And he got a weird lens on who women are and what women are for. Yeah. And he wasn't ready to be a family again. Bro.
He put out a hit on your life. That's what you worded it to me one time.
But here's the thing. The enemy did that.
The enemy did that, yeah.
Because what does our enemy do?
Yep.
He always tries to kill things in their infancy.
Bro.
He's a coward, bro. Yeah. He doesn't want these babies to be born. He doesn't want a generation to rise up and actually follow after Jesus.
He doesn't want to fight Riley as a man.
Come on.
Yeah.
Let's step outside now.
Let's go.
And so anyways,
dude, we need more fighters who are pastors, man. Come on, we need more war fighters who are pastors.
And we gotta build them up.
That's right.
Yep. And so anyways, my dad's sitting in that moment. I'm like, I gotta rescue him because he's gonna drown. Like, you can't shame a man in the greatness.
That's right.
And I'm like, Dad, do you know why I've never brought it up to you until this moment? Because that God that you have a problem with sacrificed his son so I can live. And so then my brother Jesse jumps on him. He's like, Dad, you almost killed Riley. If you would have killed Riley, I wouldn't know Jesus. My daughters wouldn't know Jesus. Like, we wouldn't be going to heaven.
Oh my goodness.
And I'm like, Dad, we love you. Oh. And I forgive you.
Yeah.
But I need this from you, Dad. Do you think I'm crazy? Do you think I have an imaginary friend in the sky?
Yeah.
And what my dad says is, Riley, thank you for forgiving me. You're the real deal. I'm just not ready to say I believe something that I don't. And I'm like, all right, we got a first down.
Yeah. Base hit.
Yep, let's go.
My man.
Yeah.
Bro.
Yeah.
You're a good man. You're a good man. Yeah. And if your dad's listening, then I hope he would be. He should be proud of his son.
He is. Yeah. He's told me that several times.
Yeah. There's a God who loves your dad more than he knows he's loved.
That's right. And he's coming for him.
And one of the expressions of that love is you.
Wow.
And man, you know, it's incredible to think like so oftentimes I think God attempts to send us blessings and we turn them down. And he almost killed one of his greatest blessings. Whew. Dude, the enemy. Wow.
Yep.
I can't remember what we're talking about. You said you made some decisions about political candidates that went against the grain of your mom.
Yeah. So to speak on the bias on, again, if we're just talking black and white, let's speak on the other side, is I do think there's a loyalty to a certain political thinking. That as I'm asking these pastors who I'm like, man, you preach and teach the same scriptures I do.
Yeah.
You don't think this is goofy?
Yeah.
Like you don't think
it's
wild to say that it's a medical procedure to kill a baby? Like can we? That's a baby.
Yeah.
Like I knew you before you were in your mother's womb. Like that's a person.
Yeah.
With the image of God and has a plan and a purpose, and we're just removing them off the field.
Yep.
And so I just can't get past that. And so like then it's. Again, and these are just the conversations I've had.
Yep.
There's a shift of like, well, what about this sin and this sin and this injustice? And I'm like, I hear you.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that this other party has it all figured out either.
Yep.
But what I'm saying is, can we stop killing kids?
Yeah. Let's just keep it simple.
Because as long as that's the topic, that's a deal breaker.
That's right.
That is a huge deal breaker for me. And so, again, as you're in a relationship and, you know, safe place. So I'm watching other people of other ethnic backgrounds step on other landmines where it's like, you sound a lot like your oppressor the way you're talking about them. Like you're talking about them like you don't want any of them around or that they should all be shipped off. I'm like, that's not the answer either. Like, do you hear yourself? And again, when emotions are high and that pain is triggered, I try to treat the pain. And to get it back to like, that's your brother too. And not just your brother in Christ. You have a common ancestor.
That's right.
You are family.
That's right.
And the enemy wants to destroy family. And he's using this issue of racism to continue to erode the one thing that he fears the most.
That's right.
He didn't show up in the garden until there was a family.
That's right, bro. That's right. Dude. I've said this often, and you help me see if you agree with this. It struck me because I think the Lord's given you insight in this.
All good.
Is when we try to force diversity, we get artificial unity. And so I tell pastors, you know, they say, I want to hire for diversity. I say, I want to hire for unity.
Right.
I never think about diversity. because I think, and I want to hear what if you agree with this or help me here.
For sure.
Is when I look at humanity, I go, we are wildly diverse.
Yeah.
By nature of being made in the image of God.
For sure.
So there's already built into the DNA of humanity diversity, because there's this uniqueness, and not to be like cliche snowflake, but like no, like literally, like there's no one like you.
As your fingerprints, right?
Yeah, like you are a unique individual made in the image of God.
No doubt.
Therefore, if I'm going to go hire another human being on staff as a pastor or bring to my board, we are as diverse as we could possibly be.
Right.
Because by nature being made in the image of God.
No doubt. Yeah.
And so what I want to hire for and what I want to put on my board is unity.
Yeah.
In terms of like, are we on the same page organizationally, philosophically, missionally, all these things.
For sure.
And so when I say that, do you agree with that? Is there something that could get tweaked in that? Because this whole like hire for diversity, let's go hire a black guy, have a black guy.
Right.
That feels demeaning to me.
Yeah. Yeah. No, 100%.
You know what I mean? Yep. It's like now you're the token black guy or the token white guy for that matter. And it's like, this is weird.
Yeah.
It feels cringe and weird. And like, how come we can't hire the best guy for the job to accomplish the mission that God has happened to assign our church where we're at?
Sure. So
would you speak into that or respond to that? Or what do you do when I say that?
Yeah. And I think I definitely got some thoughts and some personal experience.
Yeah.
So this is wild, and I'm not going to shame any pastors. I love the church. I love men of God.
Yeah.
But I have had some job opportunities thrown my way because I am what our culture would describe as a black man who talks good. Right. So I'm planting in our cities, and other pastors are like, man, why don't you just join my team and you can be my teaching pastor and be an alternate communicator to, again, just call it what it is.
Right.
I would help them attract more people who look like me.
Right.
Because we attract people who culturally, physically vibe with us.
Yep.
So all that to say is like, I'm talking to these guys. I'm like, I don't think I'm built to be your son. Like, I'm a dad now in the local church, and God's placed something in my heart to build and steward, and I'm raising up a family.
Yes.
So I've had the opportunity to be the diversity hire.
Yes.
I remember when I was on the team, this is Man of Church in Fayetteville, my sending church, my spiritual dad, Michael Fletcher, he's there.
Yep.
And I remember, it was a moment that hurt me, dude. Talking about the whole run to the cave.
Yeah.
We're posting content on social media, and I'm kind of like, hey, what's up, church? You know, cool guy doing the announcements. Come to our thing at this time. Be there, right?
Yeah.
And some troll in the comments messages and says, you're just a token. And I read it, and I'm mad. I'm like, Liam Neeson, like, I will find you.
It's right. Like, where's that radio with the air assets?
Oh yeah, coming in hot. Like, I have a particular set of skills, and I will find you. Right?
You literally do.
Yeah,
you like, literally do.
The nerve of this person. Like, you do realize your comments are on the internet. Like, we can see them.
Right,
so anyways,
right. You do as you're talking out loud.
So Michael's wife, Laura, I call her the mother dove. She's Mexican, and I'm walking by. She can tell. She knows me. Like, I'm not just an employee, like I'm family.
Yeah.
And she's like, Riley, are you okay? And I'm like, well, Miss Laura, honestly, I'm a little ticked off because of this. And she reads it and she turns to me and she says, Riley, don't you allow any of that to seep into your heart because the enemy will grab that thought and try to ferment it.
Yep.
And I've held on to that long before I became a church planter.
Wow. What a word.
And what I believe, again, I can't speak to it because I barely know my own heart, man. Scripture tells me I don't know what's in there.
Yep.
But what I believe that is happening to men who are more chocolate than me is there's somewhere where they're believing that lie and they allow it to ferment into their hearts and it drives a wedge into the beautiful thing God's been trying to build. And it's not because they're evil and trying to rebel against God. It's because they're broken.
That's right.
And God needs to heal.
What's the lie that they're believing, you think?
That white people are racist. That you can't move up in this world unless you fit a certain description. Sure, I get CRT and all the weird stuff that they're putting in college career. Sure, you can sit here and say that, okay, this group got to start playing the Monopoly game before we did. So there is some inherent benefits. But at the same time, we live in the greatest nation in the world, bro.
That's right.
I've got to travel around the world and have some great experiences. And it's not because of my skin color.
That's right.
It's because I've had opportunities. I've stewarded opportunities.
That's right.
I've understood that perception is reality.
Yep.
And so there are times when I step on an elevator and there are only ladies, I make sure I give them enough space so they feel comfortable.
Yeah.
Because I'm a big dude.
Yep. Yep.
My girl, she doesn't go running at night.
Yeah.
I don't even think about that.
Yep.
And so I realized everyone has a point of view and a life experience, and they've been hurt by people.
Yep, that's good.
So instead of labeling them by that or putting them in a box by that, maybe that's where I meet them.
Yes.
And I say, hey, you can walk with me at night.
My man. Dude. As a black man, like one of the things that I listen to what we're doing and it's frustrating me because it feels like we're participating in the undignifying of a black man when we hand them things that they haven't earned or they don't want. Have you ever wanted a handout in your life because you're black?
No.
I mean, where's that coming from? The mindset of that, like that feels like insulting.
Yeah.
And I'm like, God, what are we doing here, guys?
No, that's 100% how I feel every time. And I realize God might have given me a unique point of view, different life experiences. And for a long time, I thought this was just part of my sin nature.
Yeah.
God's given me what I would call a holy chip on my shoulder.
Okay. Unpack that.
So let's just start with basketball.
Yeah.
I entered high school at 5'9".
Yeah.
I left at 6'2".
Okay.
And so a lot of I felt like I was a small kid and I had to fight for everything.
Yep.
And I'm going to go get it.
Yep.
So I didn't have these advantages, but that wasn't my excuse. It was like, okay. So then when I got taller, now I'm fast, I'm nimble, I'm explosive. Like it built me to be better later. Once I, finish hitting puberty and all that stuff. So all that to say is like, I feel, again, there is a place where the strong should help the weak. Yes. I want to be clear there.
Yes.
I think that's biblical.
Yep.
I think
serving, helping, elevating.
Yeah, but not enabling.
Yes. But not enabling.
Yeah, like
that's good.
There's a point where I don't help my kids tie their shoes. Like you have to be able to do this or else we can't go where we need to go.
That's right.
But if I always tie my 16-year-old shoes, he's not making it on that mountain that we just took him on.
That's right.
He's got to stand on his own and become the man that God's called him to be.
That's right.
So all that to say is like, don't give me a pass just because I look a certain way. Like, because it cheapened my reward.
That's right.
And I'm a millennial, so I own that, but I'm an elder millennial, right? I'm an elder millennial.
You served your time, bro. You've done some cool stuff.
Yeah.
You're a millennial that's got some stuff done.
Sure.
So let me ask you this. Have you ever experienced, because in talking with guys, it's like there is let's just say it, an underground like black mafia culture where if you don't adhere to the code and the whatever, like you're going to get beat up.
Sure.
Have you ever experienced racism from black men or black pastors? And if so, what does it look like?
Yeah, me personally, I haven't experienced, I don't think I've experienced any like overt, like this is obvious, like we don't like you because you're too white for us or we don't like your politics, whatever. But I will say, I think it's probably some personal transactions. Again, I don't want to get too deep in this story because I hate, trying to shame other men of God. I think God will remove your lampstand if that's what he needs to do.
That's right.
But in this blessing that came out, remember, I think I mentioned earlier that we went through a church merger. The reason why we went through that process, again, got gifted a free building, 10 acres, 48,000 square feet, $7.6 million asset.
Wow.
The reason why we were looking is because we were renting a space from another pastor.
Yeah.
And this pastor, I call him the triple threat, kind of what you're saying. He's like prophet, king, and priest. Like he's a pastor, he's a politician, he's a real estate guy.
Yep.
And long story short, he was like, step out in faith, you need to buy this property.
Yeah.
We're 2 years old.
Yeah.
We don't have money in the bank. We're not in a position to buy. And it was like, well, you should buy because I got an offer on it. And if you don't take this opportunity, like you might have to find another place.
Yeah.
So we're praying. We try to do a capital campaign. We get to the point where we can basically get a loan from the bank to purchase the property that we were in, which was too small, outdated, landlocked. Like he was telling me like, an acre of property.
Yeah.
Like no room to grow. It was like, but what do we do?
Yeah.
So we started looking and we found this other property. And it felt like kind of had this gun over me where it's like, if you don't make a move, then your church is going to die.
Yep.
And obviously the Lord led us to the other opportunity. Fun fact, that building that had a pending offer that we needed to act now,
right,
still there for sale.
Really?
Yeah. So it's stuff like that where, again, I don't want to sit here and say was that racial? No, probably not.
Yeah.
But it didn't feel good either.
Yep. One of the things I've noticed being around you is that I don't, and maybe this is wrong, so help me think through this.
Okay.
I don't feel like that's the first category you work with.
No.
So like even when I've attempted to kind of like, hey, talk to me about it, you're okay. You shift categories. You're like, I don't walk through life going, that was racist.
Right.
Or I don't, so maybe that's not true, but that's my perception. That's not the first category you run to explain something.
Yeah. Cause like the fruit's not the root.
Yeah.
Again, the things that we preach to people. So, oh, you're acting out watching corny stuff on the internet.
Yeah.
So let's stop. No, you got a problem with your wife, or you got a dad issue, or like, so let's deal with the root of the issue.
Yep.
So the reason why I don't immediately knee jerk into like, this person said this mean thing to me, they must be racist. Right. The reason why I don't go there is like, man, what happened to you?
Yeah.
Like, all right, I'll tell you. You want now? Some people may not like this. I know
we're in it now, bro.
Oh no, we're there. We're there. And I know
we crossed the line like way back.
Oh yeah,
there.
No, I can't even see it anymore. So you're a man's man. I do play video games from time to time. Like
there you go.
There's a sweet spot for me where I just want to blast. I want to play some Call of Duty. Right?
Yeah. Let's go.
Do you not realize that's one of the most toxic places on the internet for racism?
Really?
There have been people, there are people who hear the sound of my voice and they start talking about a monkey. I'm just like,
wow.
And of course, I could clap back. It's like, let's just rant. But in my heart, I'm like, dang, bro, what happened to you?
Yeah.
Like, you're some beta dude on the internet and you're on here way too long because you're too good at this game. Like, I'm just playing this to decompress, but you play it for life, which is go find a woman, bro.
Yeah, let's go.
Anyways, so I know, or I assume that there's a hurt in someone's life that I'm just simply seeing the fruit of.
Wow, bro.
And I think that keeps me in a healthy place.
Yeah.
So my hurt doesn't produce that fruit in other people's lives.
That's right. My man. Dude, God's given you a unique ability, Riley, to walk in the Spirit and to love people. Not colors, races, categories, classes. Love people.
That's right.
It's a unique gift. You're a remarkable leader. I'm grateful the church has you. I'm going to give you a last word. A lot of pastors listening.
Yeah.
Black, white, all like on this issue of racial reconciliation, which is even a weird word.
Right.
I'm going to derail us again. You said you read a book.
So
would that be a good reference? That was helpful?
Yeah.
And then I'll give you the last word.
Okay. So my mentor, Michael Fletcher, he's the one that got me into this gnarly church planting adventure.
Yeah.
He wrote a book.
Thank you wherever you are out there, Michael. we need more Rileys on the front line. So thank you.
He really gave me the framework for like, I guess my worldview. Cause I'm like, why can't we just be Christian? And so he wrote a book with his best friend. They call each other twins. So Michael's white, Bishop Larry Jackson, co-author, is black.
Okay.
And they led these reconciliation meetings in our city that went national, way back in the 70s.
Wow.
And so I'm wondering why is it 2020? And it seems like all the work they did, I got to do again.
Yep.
We're in this cycle, like the judges.
Yep.
It's like we forgot.
Wow.
Right?
Wow.
So I revisited Michael's book and I'm reading it, and it's all about Jesus and the ministry of reconciliation.
Yeah.
And how he gave that to his church, how he picked dudes. He had a zealot and a tax collector.
Yeah.
The zealot's job is to kill the tax collector.
Yeah.
That's what he spent his whole life getting ready to do.
Yep.
And Jesus says, y'all love each other.
You're going to be together on the same team.
By this sign, not the sermons you preach, not how many outreaches you do, not how many churches you plant. By this sign, they will know that you're my disciple.
My man.
By your love for one another.
Wow.
So if we can't figure this out, we might not be the bride that he wants to come back and see.
Bro, that's a big word. So, last word, what would you want to hear? What would you want pastors to hear in relationship to this issue we've been wading around in that I think would be most helpful?
Yeah. I believe language creates culture.
Mm-hmm.
No one uses the word Walkman anymore.
Yeah.
And they don't exist.
Yeah.
This might be idealistic or even fantasy. But what would a world look like where we didn't have so much rhetoric around, is that light-skinned guy black or white?
Mm-hmm.
I just wonder what that world would look like. Sure, I got my culture. Sure, I got my family. I love all we get to bring to the table, but there are times where I'm exhausted.
Like talking about it gives it power?
I think it does.
Mm-hmm.
Because again, I'm talking to Chris. You said pastors.
That's right.
So if we have the power to bless and curse,
man,
the enemy's doing a good job of weaponizing our words.
That's right.
So don't give them that opportunity. Speak life.
Yeah.
Speak the reality that we see in the scriptures.
Yeah.
Where behind this one man, Jesus, we see around his throne, there are people from every tribe, every nation, every tongue.
That's right.
And it's not all the King James English.
That's right.
It's beautiful.
That's right.
It's diverse, and it reflects the creativity of our Creator.
My man.
So let's celebrate it.
Let's go.
And stop just talking about it.
Yeah. Oh, man. That's a good word.
I appreciate it.
I love you deeply.
Love you too, bro. Thank you.
I'm grateful to be on the front lines with you.
Come on.
May God raise up more warrior pastors, right? Well, we need warrior pastors.
Yeah.
Men who've maybe even been physically trained in the trades, and then bring those to the kingdom, because that's a battle.
That's right.
And it's an honor being in the front lines with you, my man.
Likewise,
So
bro.
I love you deeply.
Thank you, Josh. Love
Thanks
you too,
for being
bro.
here today.
Come on.
Hey everyone, Pastor Josh here. Thanks for listening. Don't forget to rate the podcast, review, follow, and share. And if you want to support Stronger Men Nation, you can go to strongermennation.com/give to help keep unwoke, uncensored, straight talk Bible teaching coming to you for free.